Three, two, one. Welcome to the SaaS Pulse Show. My name is Michael Bertoni, and I'm the founder and CEO of SaaS Talent. And really excited today. Two sales guys talking, right? Love it when two sales, tech, software guys in a room, right? It's amazing what we can do. But I wanted to introduce the world to Stephen Thomas. He is the CRO at Asigra. He's based in Austin. And basically, Asigra is your backups are under attack. You need to confidently defend them. You need to reach out to Stephen and defend your backups, right? Really excited, Steve, to talk to you. Like you said to me, you're kind of in startup mode here, right?
Yep.
Kind of getting this whole thing moving. So it's great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me, Michael. And for those of you that don't know, the early connection point for Michael and I is he was a partner of ours many moons ago that I did not know until we just started chatting. But obviously excited to be here, Michael, and just talk about kind of the work that you're doing, the work that we're doing, and kind of the journey that's going on in the SaaS world today.
Yeah, really exciting what you told me in the pregame of you're kind of launching, everybody, you might have heard people on the phone or people listening right now. Asigra is a pretty good brand. I mean, with backups, but tell us real quick, just before we jump into the backstory, what are you now? So what is Asigra? Give the quick 30-second elevator pitch.
Sure. For the audience, Asigra traditionally is a backup and data protection firm that would compete with your classical large-scale backup, but we go to market through managed service providers.
Mm-hmm.
Really what we've changed and what's, if you will, new to the business is we brought a group of executives into the business about a year ago to launch what was a SaaS data protection platform. And so if you think about the gap that is happening in the market today, there's this concept of really the SaaS-powered company. If you think of the applications, Michael, you and your team use today that I use every day, whether it's a HubSpot, a Salesforce, whether it's all of the new tools, a Clary, a Gong, a Fathom for video recording, all of these different SaaS applications. What people don't know is that oftentimes those platforms are cared for. Atlassian, a great example, where Jira, Confluence, Bitbucket, you've got platform availability committed. Right. What you don't have is data protection built in for the data that your developers, maybe your HR team, or just general individual contributors are putting into the platform. And so really what we've done is build a product we called SaaSAssure that we've just launched here on June 3rd that guarantees that SaaS data is protected, easily recoverable, compliant, all with kind of that increasing dependency on SaaS applications for your classical cloud first companies. So again, making sure that SaaS data is protected is what we're all about.
Yeah, awesome. As for everybody listening to, you probably know what an MSP is, or an MSP, managed service provider. Some people are deep into it. Some people do it a little bit, but that's the ICP. When we're going to talk about that in a few minutes, that's the ICP for these guys. So definitely reach out to Stephen and help them, connect them, get them some leads. So let's jump into it, Steve, in terms of the backstory. I love the backstory. First, I like to always start with the superhero backstory. So your journey. So you now are the CRO at Asigra. You've been there about over a year and a half, I saw. So what's your journey been like to get to where you are right now?
It's been messy, but great, right? For everybody that's, I always love the journey conversation because some people think it's been magical the whole way through, and I can promise it hasn't. But for me, started as an early entrepreneur, out of college, sold that company to a small startup. If anybody can go all the way back, Michael, you might be able to Partition Magic, Drive Image Days. We sold that company to PowerQuest. That got bought by Symantec. And then I really lived kind of my career growing up in leadership at Symantec, over 15 years there. Had a little stint at a shop called Message One, where we were able to get acquired by Dell. That was great. And just, largely grew up in leadership at Symantec. One of the things that I think people experience often, and just to share with your audience, I kind of got positioned into that channel world, not intentionally, but just kind of grew up and scaled there and ended up running the Americas channel for Symantec, but really missed the direct side of the business and engaging with our end customers. And that's something that I wanted to come back to. And so I left Symantec and then started back kind of on the entrepreneurial journey, and then have been in the startup scene for the last 10 years doing go-to-market work for companies in that 20 to $50 million range. And it's been an absolute blast. Messy, as I said, but a ton of fun in the cybersecurity and data protection space. So for those of you that, again, are thinking about your career and where to take it, your journey, as Michael said, pick up the phone and call. I love nothing more than having conversations with peers and or folks that are kind of thinking about their journey. Talk to them about the great things that my journey's had, where I've learned new techniques, I've learned new skills, but also, frankly, where I've made some missteps in my career, where I might have, exited a company too early, or maybe I saw something in the due diligence that I didn't pick up on that I should have with regards to an executive team here or there. So again, a ton of fun, and we're now here at Asigra SaaSAssure, having a great time. Eric Simmons is our CEO. We've got a great core executive team, which is always important. Subho Guha, who came from Enable's Chief Product Officer, Janine Edwards, who led marketing at ConnectWise, and then Arcserve StorageCraft. So just a really great journey right now, enjoying the heck out of the team that I operate with today.
Yeah, you could tell by your background, your pedigree, and all these people. I mean, it's amazing what you've been able to put into this. I'm sure it is off to the races, after the market kind of turns around a tad, but I know the MSP market is great. It's
very helpful.
MSPs are busy. They are so busy because so many people need, they need support, right? So let's get into what SaaSAssure is, right? So you talked about it a little bit more. So tell the audience, what is SaaSAssure? What's the differentiation? What are you trying to build here?
Yeah, so just again, to kind of level set, everybody's probably heard of the concept of the shared responsibility model. And that's really what we're here to help companies address. So this concept that you've got platform deliverability, but that you aren't protecting the data that you're putting into those platforms.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Michael, if we use a simple example of HubSpot, I'm a CRO at a small organization. We're rabid HubSpot users, again, Salesforce, same concept. But if you think about HubSpot's responsible for their platform, but they're not responsible for backing up the data that you put into that platform.
Sure.
And if you think about things like all the integrations, all the different AI tools, if suddenly we integrate a new tool and everybody's first name in the CRM is Pat, and I don't know what changed, and how do I get back all of that modified data set? That's really what we built to provide, if you will, backup and business continuity for applications and the data that you put into a HubSpot, a Salesforce, a Jira. All of those applications. Our differentiation as far as people go, were built for those managed service providers. So if you're a small business owner, or if you're a mid-market or enterprise and you're using a company like a Cyber Fortress or someone to manage your backups today or manage your IT environment, that's who we go to market with on a daily basis. And they leverage our platform to make sure that those SaaS applications are protected for their end customers. It simply is a Microsoft 365, again, through to a Jira or a Confluence or a Bitbucket, something of the sort.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, so we were talking about this a little bit pre-game, is MSPs are busy, right? So talk to the audience again, a little bit about your ICP. What does that look like? I mean, I'm seeing MSPs, obviously they have a package they roll out to their clients, right? So I'm assuming you're trying to get into that package or a part of that package or whatever. So tell the audience a little bit about that, the MSP and how you sell to them.
Yeah, so for the audience, a managed service provider, right? Again, it's that small IT service provider that's delivering services to your SMBs and mid-market organizations. And what they've recognized and what we're educating people around, again, is generally they've provided backup and business continuity for Microsoft 365, but they really haven't extended that conversation as people have moved applications to the cloud. 85% of applications will be SaaS-based by 2025. So again, what today the MSP who's doing that, core IT work, they aren't engaging in the conversations with a lot of their customers around a HubSpot, a Salesforce, things outside of Microsoft 365. So we're helping enable them to go tell that story. And if you're a managed service provider out there, or if you're a HubSpot integrator listening to this conversation, this is a great opportunity for you to team up together. Data protection is core to what you put into a HubSpot, a Salesforce, et cetera. But you as a integrator of a Salesforce or HubSpot may not have that skill set. What a great opportunity to cross-pollinate with your local MSP in a Raleigh or in an Austin, a Dallas, whatever it may be, and bring those two customer sets together. And again, create what is data protection. But there's also, Michael, you know as well as I do, the security world is just so hot right now and continues to be for managed service providers.
Definitely.
So again, we've got partners that we partnered up with, like a Gradient, to do things like SaaS discovery. So how do you discover the SaaS apps in your customers' environments? Again, really helping deliver that full life cycle of capability around the SaaS journey for the SaaS powered company today.
No, totally. I mean, in terms of what you're actually, let's kind of dive down a little bit deeper
Sure.
into so this market in general. So you've been there over a year and a half.
Yep.
You've launched this thing. So what have been some of the major challenges that you've dealt with over the last year and a half? Like, and how did you overcome them?
Oh man, they're just, as you know, so many. But to be crisp about it, one is making sure we've got product market fit, right? So making sure that we are solving a pain point that both are, that again, our ICP, the managed service partner providers, feeling, and
Right.
that their customers are experiencing. So that was number one, in delivering a platform that was built specifically for those managed service providers. As we kind of whittled down that ICP and how we were going to deliver the product, was really early problem solving for us. Second, I mentioned it in the kind of the intro about how we built the executive team, and that's building a strong team.
Yeah.
We've really delivered what is a wealth of knowledge and capability around both the MSP and the data protection space with our hires over the last year. And that's foundational and was kind of an early challenge for us to overcome, but one we've done in a really great way. And then the kind of the last challenge has been making sure that we deliver hugely successful outcomes and prioritize what is kind of that core customer success. And
Right.
we did that. We actually had the product in beta for about 3 to 4 months with a number of our existing partners, where we stubbed our toe on a number of occasions. But what that did was help us figure out how to deliver an excellent experience for our partners and their customers. So those are a couple of the core challenges that we've had kind of as we've gone through the journey, and some of the solutions we've built around those over the last couple of months here at SaaSAssure.
Yeah, it's great. So in terms of just talent, right, for CRO. So
Yep.
again, for everybody listening to this right now, if you're like my audience, a lot of it is earlier stage, it's solopreneurs, it's people thinking about this. You need to talk to Steven and people. Like, sales is so important. That's one of the things I see time and time again. You need some guidance, you need some assistance with sales. But in terms of just talent and how you look at talent in your organization, right? We were talking pregame a little bit about this.
Yep.
What are some of the things that are really important to you? Talent, people, like what are those core things?
Yeah, so there are a couple of things that we look for and we've learned to look for. And it's not easy, as you know, Michael, having lived in kind of that partner space or that partner ecosystem. But we go back to, we need people who have at least a core understanding of what our partners' work and effort is. And so again, it's going back to building that rubric. And so we call it rubric building around each of our roles. And as we build that scoring rubric for those roles, we look at, hey, does the person have some capability or some background in the industry that we're serving? Because again, that customer outcome is most important for us. So that's core number one. We also look for two other key pieces around culture, kind of a culture of innovation, uh, and a collaborative capability. As
Love
a
it.
smaller team, particularly if you're pre-seed, seed company, again, as you described it, solopreneur, entrepreneur, if you don't have a team that can collaborate and communicate together, you're going to throw so much sand in those gears early that you simply don't need. So you need
Right.
that culture component where people, sure, they can disagree, but they get back on the horse and they keep riding immediately thereafter. Those are a couple of things that we've really looked for as we considered talent. and interviewed for talents. We brought them in over the last year into Asigra SaaSAssure.
Nice. And so just to kind of reiterate what we talked about before for people listening. So Steven's driving sales, right? So he has to get in the door, right? So he has to get in the door. So tell the audience what's the one or two things what's the hook, right? For the MSP, I heard HubSpot a few times. I heard Salesforce. So what's typically that one or two thing that, yeah, we're interested in that, right? So what is that thing?
Yeah, for us, it's revenue expansion with your existing customer base. You don't have to teach your sellers anything new. That's as simple as it gets. Again, your existing customers are leveraging these technologies, and you're not having a conversation with them. We want you as the managed service provider to own that conversation and not simply give it away to another system integrator or service provider.
Yeah, I love it. So your pitch, it's really great. Your pitch is, hey, we could help you grow revenues.
Exactly.
We're doing this for a lot of companies. We could help you grow. Let's talk about it. Right. So yeah, no, it's really, really cool. So in terms of ideas and advice and things, what are top things when you're talking and working with entrepreneurs and founders and executive people? What are the piece of advice or knowledge that you could give out to them?
So as a sidebar, I do, similar to you, Michael, a lot of pre-seed, seed, just advisory work through a couple of other organizations. But to me, it's having a methodology around your sales and marketing process. So whether you're a managed service provider, whether you're pre-seed, look, again, HubSpot has a ton of great tools out there, and we provide data protection for their platform, but they've got a ton of core education out there around how to do basic go-to-market sales and marketing. And hold yourself accountable. This is something I see with founders and early stage operators all the time, is they love talking about their product or their idea. But what they don't do is they don't execute around, great, I've had a conversation with XYZ person. How are you going to follow up and continue that thread? What's the accountability that you're going to hold? How are you going to inspect that? And using a basic tool, a CRM, whether it's Close, whether it's HubSpot, again, I wouldn't recommend a Salesforce for your smaller shops, but get a tool that allows you to inspect yourself on a regular cadence and then hold yourself accountable to that. For me, it is so simple in doing the work often that people avoid making the phone calls, right? They avoid sending the emails. And again, it's you got to just go do the work. Everybody's selling every day. And if you don't, you aren't going to make any money.
I was going to do a post on this today, Stephen, but you'll get it. So I met this higher level, awesome SaaS guy at an event. I sent him an email right afterwards. I sent him a LinkedIn invite. I sent him, so you know what I did today? I found him I literally did this today. I found him on Contact Out. Yep. I got his phone number and I called him and he picked up. And he said, I'm going to a board meeting right now. Just get me an email. Like, that's what it takes, everybody.
Yep.
You got to have a process. This like RevOps too, like if you're familiar with like companies like Pavilion and like RevOps, like you got to have a process. You talk to Steven for a couple of minutes, or you talk to me. Okay, process. We have a process to actually do this. We understand that, and we're smart enough to get it moving. So that's great advice. I mean, everybody, I could even learn from it. I mean,
well, and again, we've got so many small entrepreneurs who are excited about their product, but they don't, again, remind themselves that they've got to go do the selling every day.
Got to do it.
Get your LinkedIn posts up, do the basics, right? Make it part of your cadence to your day. And that, again, that's just the work to be done.
I love it. So, Stephen, it was great having you on the show. Let's stick around for a minute or two. We'll debrief, but it was awesome having you on the show. And definitely everybody reach out to Stephen Thomas. He is the CRO at Asigra. It's now SaaSAssure. He launched that about a month ago. So awesome to have you on the show.
Yep. Thanks, Michael. I appreciate you having me. And again, to your audience, if you do want to engage, don't hesitate to reach out. You'll find me on LinkedIn, Stephen Thomas, CISSP. But everybody have a great day and thanks for listening.